Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 545, and today we're playing Backpack Battles. And so we're continuing our introductory series into Backpack Battles. We're covering off on each of the classes before we get into a little bit more in-depth strategy. We've touched on the Berserker, we've talked about the Reaper, and today we'll be playing the Ranger. And so kind of thematically, the Ranger is that classic style of Lord of the Rings slash Warhammer Fantasy slash Dungeons and Dragons elf trope. They run around in the forest and do a bunch of nature shit. They're very agile and they like to shoot bows and arrows. And so you do see a lot of themes from that trope across the course of the class. If you look at the bottom left at the ranger person hanging out down there, she's primed and ready to shoot her bow and arrow. No shields in sight. I'm not certain if she's going to try and surfboard the shield and then shoot 3 arrows at an orc at the same time, but you know, it's probably in her wheelhouse, right? You know, that's probably what you do the first week at elf school. You learn to surfboard those shields down a flight of stairs, get you ready for the Battle of Helm's Deep or whatever was going on there. But nonetheless, to talk about the kind of specifics of the class, the backpack really sums up what the Ranger is looking to do. The items inside gain a 10% critical hit chance, and then they get an additional plus 3% for each luck that they have. Luck is one of the overarching themes of the Ranger class. You'll generate these clovers. You'll have clovers that generate luck, and they're all nature themed as well, which will tie into some of the other items. And so the first thing, though, to kind of keep in mind with the Ranger is it's going to be a sort of combat-centric burst damage style of class, looking to build up a big collection of luck and then use that luck to convert into critical hit chance and hit for some really big strikes. Mentioning that, it's worth calling out the clover itself. You can see it up here at the top left. This is the core unique item within the Ranger class. It is a 1 hex item that grants you 1 point of luck, but it's also a nature item, and so that will tie in with some of the other abilities that we'll see across the class. But a lot of the item combinations coming from the Ranger are going to want these lucky clovers. It's just the big build-around item that they possess. To speak to the subclass items themselves, the class has the big bowl of treats. This is the food/pets item. It's a very nature-centric thing to where you start generating squirrels and rats and hedgehogs and the like. A very powerful ability, making your food trigger faster. And so it's kind of a dual-use kind of thing to where you can work with the food, you can work with the pets. It's an all-around one of the more powerful food-based items in the game. I will make note, I don't follow super close with the patch notes because I'm not strong enough at the game yet to really understand the breadth of what's happening there, but a patch did come out today as I make this video, and the big bowl of treats was nerfed a little bit. Up next is the piercing arrow. This is a very crit-centric scaling type of item that increases both our luck and our crit. And so the starred weapon does 30% critical hit damage, and then they also take away 8 armor. The starred item activates for a 40% chance to gain a luck, and so the luck also makes it easier to hit. If we have the item within our backpack, it's also going to increase our critical strike chance, and so it's this kind of nice cycle of building up to gigantic burst damage. If the items activate, give us luck, the luck makes it easier to get hits. It also gives us critical strike. We're going to get more crits because we have more critical strike, and now the piercing arrow is going to deal more critical strike damage, and so a nice kind of general use cycle of combat damage rolling through there. The Yggdrasil Leaf is the mana item coming out of the class. At the start of the battle, you gain 1 mana and 1 regenerate for each nature item that it touches, and then after 5 uses of it, you heal for 10 and take off 2 debuffs. Now, this is an item that was just buffed. I did have a fairly successful run with this earlier in my day-to-day, but this is, of course, the mana item if you're looking to go towards mana things, or a little bit less, though, if you're looking to go towards the regenerate path out of the Holy Tree. The Yggdrasil Leaf is what you're going to be building towards. After that, we have the Poison Ivy. We haven't talked about Thorns. It's kind of a sub-theme within the Ranger class. It's the class that certainly gets the most usage out of the Thorns mechanic, to where if you're struck by a melee attack, you deal damage back to your opponent. And so the way the Poison Ivy works is you have a 5% chance to resist the debuffs for each nature item that it touches. And so that's tying back into that nature theme. And then whenever you gain thorns, you give 2 poison to your opponent. When your opponent hits 18 poison, they take bonus damage. And so there are a few different scaling thorns type items that give you that sort of offensive defensive boost to where it's a defensive thing since it doesn't actively attack your opponent, but if they hit you with melee attacks, they're going to be taking additional damage. Last but not least, we have the Clover build around. At the start of your turn, it generates 2 lucky clovers, which you can then put into your backpack. The sale chance makes the items show up a little bit cheaper in the shop, right? You'll occasionally see a sale item that's half off, makes the sales show up more commonly, makes unique items turn up more commonly. And then the big thing in terms of the Mega Clover build around is when you hit 20 luck, you get 40 random buffs. If you're really going after the Mega Clover theme, you're going to really want to start out the run hitting 20 luck, which takes a very big backpack full of the clovers. And so those are the ideas. Those are the mechanics. Let's get ourselves a run in and see how things go. I did just roll over into Platinum, and so we'll probably get smashed a little bit early here as I need to level up my skills just a little bit, but I'm sure we'll still come out here and get an interesting run in. And so it is kind of an interesting start right out the gates. There's a couple of economy combinations right from the get-go. You have the piggy bank, which gains money. It also works kind of nicely with the ranger, given that the lucky clovers can help activate the start of battle thing. Right at the start of battle, gain 1 luck. It ties in with the pig working there. Otherwise, there is the broom and the pan to make the shovel. This is another economy kind of item in the sense that you're generating those items in the early game from the shovel, which you can then sell or equip as necessary. I think that that's the way that we probably want to take this off. I don't like these starts to where we don't get any direction whatsoever in terms of what our build is going to be. Like, I don't like the dagger within this class. There's not a ton of stun mechanics, and so, you know, let's just see how we can go with this. We'll take the pan, we'll take the broom, we'll get everything loaded up in our bag here somehow, and then kick things off for battle. I don't think either of these deal a start of battle thing. Yeah, the broom doesn't, the pan doesn't, and so can't load up our can't load up our pig with the extra goodies there. We even make all this shit fit. we got to do all the rearranging early here. Hang on, we can swap out this way and start to make things work. I think trying to get everything in here. That's the way to do it, right? We can move this guy over. There we go. That's how the backpack should look. So now we're generating the shovel, and then we're getting the bonuses out of the piggy bank as well. And so let's see how it goes. Not a great start in terms of combat. We're probably going to end up losing the first couple of rounds here, but excuse me, it is a pretty reasonable start in terms of economy. And then our stamina problems will just kind of fix themselves within the next round. And so very close against the Berserker there. We got them down to 4 health. Not quite enough to take down the battle, though. All right, and so here is a little bit of build around with the whetstone, taking us towards potentially a hero sword centric build. Otherwise, I'm not too interested in any of these. If you want to build towards thorns, the Walrus Tusk is the big build around item. That's where a lot of the thorns combinations will come from. The thorns bow, the thorns big bow, the thorns shield out here with the spiked shield, the claws of attack as well. All of the thorns items all build around this Walrus Tusk, but I don't really like it, and so we're not going to take it here. If it was on sale, I would consider it, but I'm not quite ready to dive in when it's not on sale. But we did have a leather bag turn up. To me, it feels like the Ranger class really suffers from bag problems first and foremost, and so I'm happy to pick that up. We can look to pick up the short bow as well. It does get us in a very stamina unfriendly place, right? We're up to high stamina usage now, but it at least gives us a little bit of build around, and so we'll add it in and see if we can't get our build a little bit more in tune over the course of the next couple of rounds. All right, opponent's got 2 swords and a bow. Oh, did we get it? Oh, we got him. We barely got him right at the end. Finished it off. We got that last hit in just before they got the chance. Good stuff. Good stuff. And hey, we got a free bag out of the shovel. That's not bad. The things in the shop here, again, not that great. They don't give us any sale items. There's no real build around things here. Let's give it a reroll, see what turns up. The whetstone here is very interesting. And so we got a bag. I'm on board with it. We can pick up the whetstone, make the hero sword over here. And then this is where we'll have to start really asking ourselves some questions. I'm kind of interested in the broom. I don't want to make more shovels, but if we want to go towards the mana build around, then it's very important to have access to a broom to make the wand. The thing that I find is a problem with the mana build arounds in the ranger class is you have a lot of ways to generate mana, but not a lot of ways to spend it. And having access to a wand is very important there. And so I think we're going to pick it up. We'll have to sell our stone to do it. I'm just going to lay it in the bench and not actually carry it here. And then since it was on sale, we can just sell it later if it doesn't seem like the mana sphere is going to bring itself together. And so I think it's a fairly low risk, high reward take on that board. Right, opponent's building up the hero sword as well. He's like, we're starting to fall behind. He's got a banana out here to give a little bit more mana regen, and he started with a lot more health. And so it's going to be tough for us to take that one down. But I like the direction that this is going. We're starting to get a little bit of picture of what we want to do. So as far as this goes, there is another whetstone. I'm not the hugest fan of trying to build towards the cross blades or building towards the hero longsword. I do like the falcon blade. It attacks twice, and at the start of the battle, the starred items trigger faster, so you can make a whole bunch of attacks really quick. This gives you kind of insane burst damage as far as putting a bow in front of it goes, and so I'm interested in it, and we might build towards it, but the hero longsword crossblades kind of path I'm not super interested in. And so there is the whetstone, there is the wooden sword. I'm not particularly interested in those, I don't think. So let's give it a roll, see what turns up. Very cheap corrupted crystal, interested in it. Here turns up the gloves. That gets us towards the improved hero longsword as well. Interested in that. Let's go ahead and snatch up all of these. All right. Let's rearrange our bag a little bit. We have this we have this fanny pack down here that we are just not using, and so let's make that look a little bit better. We can bring the shovel back in on top. That seems fine. Get our throwy item out here. I think that looks okay. That's a decent looking bag right there. Title of my sex tape. Decent looking bag. All right, and so we started cruising through that right at the beginning, and then it was like our damage just stalled, and I saw the poison creeping up. I was a little bit worried about how that was going to play out, but we made it through at the end of the day. So here we got a lucky clover. Definitely happy to pick these up whenever they turn up. You do need to be fairly careful with the lucky clovers. Again, these are a big item combination type thing within the class. You can see the piggy bank upgrading here. The double clover into short bow makes a different type weapon, the Fortuna's Hope. It also makes the where you at? The Fortuna's Grace down here. Now, what I'm really kind of looking to do at this point is I would prefer to save the clovers for Fortuna's Grace. And then if we go to look to say build towards like the Critwood Staff and the Magic Staff, I would like to keep those clovers around. And so I'm not going to merge the clovers right away. I'm going to lock the pig up here so that it doesn't do anything that we don't want. So now we can continue on a little further. Happy enough to pick up this pig. It'll pay for itself off pretty quick, and it's going to give us, not a negligible but not horrible early game health boost here. What else do we got? Now things are starting to turn up. I want the bag. I want the bow and arrow. I'm pretty good to just get rid of the shovel at this point. It's dug up some good stuff, but now we're going to kind of get hamstrung by stamina. So I'm just going to go ahead and sell it. We'll pick up the Fortuna's Grace and get this up and running in our bag. Make sure these are looking better. Now I want the cheap leather bag. Now what are we going to do here? Like, again, we're starting to get into the question, do we want to spend these lucky clovers or do we want to push towards the mana comp? And if we go towards the mana comp, well, I guess if we go towards the, well, see, right, here's the thing, is if we go back to our items, keeping these clovers around works fantastically with the Yggdrasil leaf in the sense that it just gives you that kind of free mana boost, and it has all of these stars that you're going to load the nature items up onto. Or if we build towards the Mega Clover, we don't necessarily need them around, but it's going to kind of determine what we want to build towards here. I think if a magic or a magic orb turns up, we'll want the leaf. If it doesn't, we'll want the mega clover. And so I think I'm kind of willing to give it one more round with these lucky clovers in terms of spending them and building up the bow and arrow. And then we'll just have to give it kind of a moment to see if any of the other build around items turn up. But I think we still have pretty reasonable economy with the double pig up here. All right, starting to get ahead of the mage. Ran out of stamina at the end, but still able to take it down. Good stuff. And all right, yeah, so we're getting a little build around direction. There are the blueberries. These work towards the mana-based theme. I'm happy enough to go ahead and pick it up. Again, it's not super strong on its own, but it does give us that 1 hex nature item, and it does generate mana. So if we do go towards the mana build with the broom, we're kind of off to the races with that. Otherwise, don't need this other stuff. Happy to pick up this big bag. Kind of wanting to wait and see if one of these build around items will turn up. Pick up the rock. We can just sell it if we don't want it. And okay, here's the gloves of haste. That's going to give us the falcon blade out of the hero sword. And so let's go ahead and get that locked and loaded. Now, other good stuff in here, though. There is the blueberries. There is the fanny pack. This doesn't really lock us into anything, getting the falcon blade. Like, the falcon blade onto the bow and arrow is quite good. I guess that's probably what I'm just on board with at this point. So let's go ahead and do the Fortuna's Grace as well, so that we'll just get like a massive power spike next turn to where we'll have the falcon blade tied into the bow and arrow. And then I'm just going to build towards the... I'm going to build towards the Mega Clover. And so we have, a touch of build up towards the Yggdrasil leaf. I don't really like going into the mana stuff at this point without having access to a wand. And so I think we'll just be building to the Mega Clover here. But I want to reserve that bag. Hey, this guy going for. He's got a thorn bow, a regular bow, bunch of items. Not a ton of direction there. Started smashing him with the big crits. See if it'll be enough. Oh, he's going to take it through. He carried it out. Bummer. But, again, we're going to activate pretty heavily here, right? We've just got the Falcon Blade ready to go. We've got our Fortuna's Grace. Looks like we've got a Clover in here. We've got a bag in here. On board with that. Let's keep rolling and see what turns up. Another great nature item in here in the Acorn Collar. Your starred items get 5% critical hit chance for each luck. It's going to really push us up into the space of getting 100% crit on all of our items. Very strong there. We do see the first mana orb turn up. It's too late. It's too late to be in the party for that. If the mana orb had turned up in the previous round before we made the Falcon Blade and made the Fortuna's Grace, we could have built something there, but it's not going to happen. Not today. Now, what do we got here? Nothing. We'll just pick up the bag that's on sale. All right, so we'll have to do a little bit of inventory rearranging here. Didn't we pick up another fanny pack? Did I miss that? I wanted that fanny pack in here to be the extra bonus onto the Falcon Blade. I'm a little suspicious of what just happened there. I feel like something zinged us. Let's see. Let's at least get maximum boost onto this Falcon Blade. All right, Oh, I guess it was in the right space. I thought it was a 4 long thing, but it's only 3. So that looks okay, right? So at the start of battle, your starred items trigger faster. We're going to be triggering the Fortuna's Grace. We can get this other smaller short bow down here as well. Our stamina usage still looks pretty good. We can look to try and upgrade the short bow if that's what comes about. But let's go ahead and load that up into the board. And right, see the big thing with this combo is the next attack with Fortuna's Grace crit or hits twice, and so you get to just get these big old bursty collection of attacks coming out of these things. It's gonna be sweet, I assure you. Get our crits up in here. All right, let's see where this is at. We'll kick off the battle and see where these things stand just right at the beginning. It's very crit centric as far as these things go, and so our Falcon Blade is only at 10. The Fortuna's Grace is only at 10. Let the battle roll for a hot second. I think they should be going up, right? Yeah, our Falcon Blade is at 34%. The Fortuna's Grace is at 34. You can continue on. We'll see how they land at the end of the battle. Just get these massive chunks coming out of the Reaper over here. Oh, can we get it before we're done with the stamina? Good stuff. Barely got there at the end. But our... Where are we at? Still at 34%. We didn't hit any bonus. What are they called? Didn't hit the bonus luck along the way. It'll start to pick up though with the Mega Clover. So we've got space for it. If you noticed within that last round, we were running out of stamina. I am going to pick up all of the stamina potions that we can. So that's going to be good. Another thing that I do like with these builds are the flutes. And then there's another flout type item, which just gives you stamina boosts and luck boosts as well. It just kind of ties in nicely with these weapons. And so let's just go ahead. This is what typically feels like an easier bag management system to me. Let's get some of this stuff out of the way. We're gonna pick up the flute and then activate it on all of our things. What you're going to kind of come to see with items like the flute and the clovers is you can see it a little bit better down here at the bottom. Like when we start to stack up these items down here, we have all of these 1 hex items, and so if you start to get all of these hexes just filled with the lucky clovers, it gives you a lot of activations on the flute. And so that's the kind of thing that we're going to be looking to build towards here, is activating it, just hitting the most items that we can. And so now you can see we picked up a little bit of extra space with that lucky clover that we moved to the front. Where do we stand here? Kind of ready to just sell these pigs, but I guess it's a little too early for that. We can get rid of the broom. We're never going to use it. Let's take one more roll. Potion belt turns up. We're going to make use of that. Would not mind getting 4 potions up and running. All right, so not bad, not bad. We got our Mega Clover ready to go. Let's jump into battle. Starting to ramp up a little bit. Yeah, the big thing we're going to start to look to do in this build is we'd like to get up to that 20 luck. That's what activates the Mega Clover. And so we'll try and activate the short bow. Ideally, it's just going to pop off at the start of combat, and we'll just have that buff right from the get-go. But that's the big thing that we're looking for out here. So you see we did pick up the 2 Mega Clovers because the 2 Lucky Clovers because the Mega Clover activates. Just get us off to the races with those. All right, we got a bag. Don't want a second big bow, I don't think. I think I would prefer to just level up this smaller one. We're starting to run out of mana as it is. Got another corrupted crystal. Sure. Just get all the burst damage that we can find. Looks reasonable to me. There we go, just nuked him right at the end. we took him from like 50% to 0 in one big shot there. Feels good. Feels good to do stuff like that. We're starting to have the comp come together. So additional corrupted crystals turning up. Got more little clovers to put out. I think we want to try and pick up all of these. Let's just load up both of our big attacky type items with those corrupted crystals. We're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. I gotta keep checking on the flute though. Like this can be one of the minorly annoying things as you're trying to kind of min-max your clover usage. I guess we'll eventually look to push this up 1. I think you get more clovers out of the top, but looks like we're getting 5 regardless of where we put the flute. So we'll just leave it as is. Oh, dang. It's I didn't realize it was the reincarnate mage. I saw him just shoot way down to 0, and I was like, fuck yeah, just nuked him. And then the health total went right back up. So they kind of zinged us right there. Now here, this is interesting. I'm not certain to what to think of these. These badges are something that they just added within the game. The stone badge here is not one that we're going to want, but this one says you cannot access your starting class items. And then when you enter the shop, you generate items worth 2 gold, and then every 3 seconds you gain 5 armor. And so this isn't the greatest example. There is a badge for each class, and so say we found the Reaper badge. It does something every 3 seconds and then allows the Reaper items to show up within the shop. And so we could start to find the big death scythe or something like that. And so there will be some interesting kind of cross-class shenanigans happening with these badges being added. At this stage of the game, they're probably overtuned because they just added it to the game. But the stone badge isn't something that we want to see. We want to pop every single lucky clover that we can find. And so we're going to leave that one in there. We got a bag on sale, sure thing. Don't think we need any of this other stuff. There is a potion turning up. I think I'm kind of okay with it. We aren't, it's just like at this stage, there's not a ton of stuff that we're actively looking for in our comp. We do want more clovers to be adding in. We do want more of these flute kind of things, but we're kind of off to the races as far as this is going to go. And so whenever the flute or type items turn up, we'll take it. I would like to have 2 more heroic potions up here. That should hopefully make itself evident eventually. And then we're just going to try and fill out the entirety of our board with the clovers. Now, we can push these up here to the top. I got to see, this way we're starting to get a little bit further along. I think that's probably where we'll want the flute to be, where we'll want them to rest from now until their day's end, right? We've got 5, 6, 7 activations on this one, and so it seems like it's probably about as good as it's going to get. It's a little clunky with the Falcon Blade and the Fortuna's Grace in here. They're both 3 slots along. It doesn't work fantastically with that middle space, but I think it'll still be okay otherwise. All right, let's move on. What's this guy doing? He's doing the old steel goobert. Gonna start ramping up with that big damage. Zinged him from like 90. I didn't quite see how that number went at the end. Where are they? Let me drop it down to the end stage here. Where is he at? Before our last big hit in, he's at like 49 or so. Here's a big burst from us. Feel like we just took him down from like 90 to nothing in a matter of seconds. At the 11-second mark, he had 90 health, and then at the 14-second mark, so 2 seconds later, we took him down from about 100. Not bad, not bad. Get them big deeps out here. All right, what do we got, though? Lucky Clover. You know what's up. You're making it into the team. We found the Fanfare. This is the other one. It's not nearly as good as the Flute, in my opinion. This one randomly gains 1 Empowered, which is the one that we actually want. It just gives you the extra damage on attack. Gain 3 mana, remove 2 mana from the opponent is a big loser, and then remove 1 stamina from the opponent isn't bad. And so I do prefer the Flute giving us, either the stamina to attack more, the clovers for damage, or uh, the armor for longevity, to where this one only has 2 abilities that we're really interested in. But if it comes down to having neither of them or having down 1 and 1, I would much rather just have 1 and 1, and so we'll make that work out how we can. Otherwise, it feels like our bags are kind of fucked up with this big gap here in the middle. Like, I guess we can kind of fill it in like this. There might be a better way to do it. We got this bag, but there's no room for it. We got to figure out a way to make this thing fit real quick. I mean, this is probably the problem with the 3-slot bags taking up an awkward space. What if we do that? Can we still fit our flute in? Sure can. Oh, this guy wants to be in 1 closer. Does it not have the same range? 3 up, 3 up. Oh, it shoots bigger from 2 away. So we'll probably want these kind of flute things up here, where they can kind of wrap around. Okay. We'll figure that out. Let's see, now we've got our fanfare upgraded just a little bit. Seems reasonable. We can min-max that a little bit more, but seems like it's going to be in a decent spot. Let me just go ahead and move these stones. I keep intending on selling them, and so we'll see if we can't get those out of the bag at some point. I've done pretty good, though, in terms of not converting these piggy banks. They aren't bad. Like, they give you an additional chance on your luck-based items. So at the start of the battle, you do get the two clovers. And you might say that that's the same thing, right? We have the 2 clovers and the pig out here that's taking up a lot of extra space. But when you start to look at things like the fanfare here and how we're able to get 5 across the board on all of these clovers, if you move the pig down in here, you miss out on one of those squares. And so I tend to just leave the piggy banks around until it's time to sell them. You also do get that little bit of extra health out of the piggy banks as well. And so I'm sure a master of the game could tell you a different way to... Oh, shit. Okay. Could tell you a different way to pull that off better, but that's just the way that I tend to go about it and think about it. All right, there we go. Looks good. Battle time. Oh, we still got $8. we got too in depth there. That's okay. That's okay. I think we're looking strong against this warlock here. They got a lot of armor, but not a ton of poison generation. Just nuked them. Good stuff. Right, so we got a stamina potion on board. There's another acorn collar. Glad to snatch that up. We're not going to hit 3 items with it, but we can still hit... it's a good single space item up here at the top. What else we got? A 4-slot bag. We can't really fit anywhere. I'm not going to take any more of those. Anything cool here? Another acorn collar. Just get more crit. Sure. That looks good, right? That's the crit is landing on both of our big items. It's on the Thunder Blade, whatever this is called, the Falcon Blade, and on the Acorn Collar. Or on the Corrupted, the Fortuna's Grace. We'll get there eventually. I'm on board. Now let's check real quick if we have any stars that we're missing. The flute looks good. Can't activate anything else with it. Both of those are fine. Battle time. I'm interested to see what our crit stands at this time. Well, I'm pretty certain that once we get up to the end, it's just going to pop off. Where are we at? We're starting with 12 clovers, getting very close to that 20 start. Our Falcon Blade's at 100% crit. Fortuna's Grace at 100% crit. I'm certain the other one is there as well. Just blasting right through. Good stuff. So yeah, this is coming together nicely. Got a 1-slot bag, sure thing. Should be kind of straightforward from here. Got another flute. Add that one in. Got these clovers taking up the bottom space. Getting very close to just starting with 20. That's where this really pops off. I know it feels like we're popping already, but we haven't we haven't officially hit the popping off mark, and so I'd like to see that turn up. Now, one thing I am going to look for is the helmet. We don't have any armor items here because it's so bursty, but I am okay with the helmet in the sense that it... we'll pull up the cap of discomfort here. It gives you that big percentage bonus right at the beginning of combat, and then reducing the opponent's healing as well is kind of nice. And so it gives us, you know, if we're just here for burst damage, it does a lot of really nice burst stuff, right? Since you don't need to last for 10 seconds because you've already blown your wad by then. And so it just gives you that very quick way to fight through. What do we think about the Gen lamp? It's 7, 7, and 7. I don't think I'm kind of on board with it. Like, it's on sale and the rolls are getting expensive, so it's like I'm kind of on board. We already have like a ton of luck, so that doesn't matter. I don't think we do gain armor and mana. Mana. We don't have a way to gain thorns though. I don't think it's going to activate. Well, I guess it'll activate for itself to make thorns, but the battle's going to be over before that happens. All right, let's just jump in. Let's jump in before we buy shit we don't want. That's the answer, right? That's the answer. Oh, there's that 20 buff. Just have everything load up. I guess that could be the way that we would have activated the gen thing, right? Is our 20 clover thing popping off. But nonetheless, let's continue on the fight. We've been crushing as things go along here. That feels pretty good. Happy enough to pick up Tim. He's a very strong attack out here. I'll go ahead and I think we'll put it on the Fortuna's Grace. I don't know. I really like the damage that these things pop up. I know we aren't getting quite as much out of it on the chipped Sapphire. But I think we want to keep our damages where the damages are going good. So that seems fine. We fit this bag in here, sure can. We don't need any more crit, right? Star items get 5% critical hit chance. Everything we had was at 100% crit, so we don't need any more of those. Here is a fanfare. Gladly get this one up in. How many spaces does this get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Over here, it's only going to get 1, 2, 3, 4. We could probably arrange these a little better. Like, let me buy it. We might be able to say, just go ahead and sell the stones. Like, what if we put the clover thing? It felt like something was in the way. Like, I feel like we should be able to put it maybe like right here. And then still get a bunch of activations. It's not perfect, but we do have all of this open space up at the top. Right now we're up to 6 and the space to get up to 7. Just gonna go ahead and sell the mana thing. Right, so now it's at 7. This guy's completely maxed out. Maxed out, maxed out. Okay, cool. But we can still keep the pigs. Looking good, looking good. So yeah, we want one more potion. After that, I would like a helmet. And I think we're set. Like, this comp is pretty well done. Kicking the buffs off at 16. We will want to get that up to 20 so that the battle starts and then we immediately just activate the Mega Clover. But that'll be there in a couple of rounds. Just acing right through that battle rage. Get wrecked. Get wrecked, bruh. Ranger coming through. All right. We got one bag slot left. Let's see if we can't fill that out. All of our items are nice and full at the top. Again, looking for one potion. Looking for a helmet. There's the potion we want. Beautiful, beautiful. Just looking for that helmet now. I don't think we can't combine the blood amulet with the upgraded health potions to get vampire. I don't think we really want that. The falcon blades are only a combat-y kind of item out here. There is another corrupted crystal. I'm going to go ahead and take it. That if we ever find the helmet, that's what we'll need to upgrade it. But I don't think we want to replace Tim. Tim giving that chance to steal the buff. What's in the backpack? When the opponent drops to 30% health, heal for 50 and gain 5 empowered. I mean, that seems better than just stealing buffs. Let's go ahead and just put Tim in the backpack. Like, I don't know, right? If your opponent's at 30% health, they're probably just fucking dead anyways. And so the 5 empowered isn't going to matter too much, but we'll see how that plays out. Just murdered old Seabiscuit out here. Very easy round. Going for the pets. Sorry. Sorry for all your friendly forest creatures out here. We just went out and nuked them. All right, only 2 bag slots left. We got another clover. Sure. Here is a fanfare or a flute. We can probably fit it in. Not a lot of great spaces for it. Oh, this is a good space. We just gotta get rid of the pig. It's all coming together. Look at that. Make some fucking noise for the ranger. Getting the flutes, getting the fanfare. It's not bad. That's not bad. There's one last lucky clover in here. I don't think we need it. I'm just gonna buy it and put it in the old sack. That's what a board's supposed to look like. Got all the lucky clovers. There we go. We immediately just popped off right at the start. I like it. Murdered. What do we got? One last battle, one final round to go through. I don't think we need the heroic potion. Like, it seems like I can't tell if we're running out of stamina or not, but I kind of like the idea of keeping a single health potion in here. Now here is the cap of resilience finally turning up. I think I'm gonna take it. I'm just gonna go ahead and put it in. We can move Tim back to the bow. We can put the corrupted crystal within it. No reason to keep the pig at this point. It's just going to... we're going to be in the final round. There's no reason to gain the gold. I think we're good to go. Alright, fellas. That's what a board looks like. Squeeze them cheeks. Let's see what we can do. The full backpack. All the clovers going around. Opponent insta-popped as well in terms of their lucky clover. Still smashed him down at the end. Plenty of crit to roll through. Not a bad match. And so, good stuff. Not a bad battle. Crushing through our first round of Platinum. That feels pretty good. And I think that that's a reasonable primer into the space of the Ranger. Again, the big build-around item for the Ranger is getting the crit out of the backpack and then the lucky clovers and the kind of cyclical type of bonuses that you'll get out of those. You're not necessarily going to build towards this this crit heavy type build every time, but the clovers do tie into a lot of the other builds, right? We pointed out the Yggdrasil leaf that gets bonuses based on the nature items being around. Anything that's going to key off of nature, the clovers tie into. Anything that's going to tie into your critical hit, those work into as well. And so everything that you do with the Ranger pretty much cares about those clovers. And you have to kind of keep those in mind and snatch them whenever they turn up. The big thing for me in terms of the clovers is choosing when you want to swap it out for an item upgrade. And so you can see our opponent here in this round, they have 1, 2, 3, 4 of the lucky pigs. We chose not to upgrade our pigs to lucky. We could have, but we chose not to keep our space online for all of these fanfares. If you look at the opposing build, they aren't using the fanfares. They aren't going to get as much bonus out of having slot after slot after slot after slot taken up. And so just one of those interesting decisions that you're going to make with the Ranger. Do I want to combine my lucky clovers into an item? Do I want to lose out on that nature hex to upgrade an item? Do I want to convert one item to a clover based thing at the cost of, you know, losing that hex or not being able to upgrade something else? There's a lot of decision making that goes into the clovers and a lot of different ways that you can take them. And so those are, again, the big thing to really think about in terms of building your Ranger comp. And so, good stuff. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. So if everyone enjoyed the video, hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way. you had a good time watching. This is Bustin' We. Thank you for being here.